I remember standing on a platform at Grand Central, this must have been in the 1950s, looking up longingly at this gleaming locomotive, and the engineer leaned out of the cab window and said, "Hey, you want to drive this thing?" And I couldn't believe what I was hearing, but he lifted me up, put me on his lap, put my hand on the throttle. We must have moved about a foot and a half, but to me it seemed like a mile at the time. Here I was, a little kid from Brooklyn driving a locomotive in Grand Central Terminal. Obviously, since I was a kid, the terminal went through some very, very hard times. The Penn Central Railroad, the New York Central, and the Pennsylvania went bankrupt. Then the MTA took it over in 1983 and immediately began trying to restore it, trying to build up a constituency for restoring it, which they were able to do by the 90s. And by now, I'd say the terminal is probably in better shape than it was even when it opened. When it originally opened in its earliest incarnation, the New York Times said it was neither grand nor central. It handles more passengers, it handles more visitors. Metro North is now the busiest commuter railroad in the United States. Grand Central, by one measure, the number of tracks and platforms, is the largest railroad terminal in the world. It's going to get even bigger when the Long Island Railroad moves in down about 140 feet below street level. And it's just a magnificent place, lovingly restored by government in its self-interest, enlightened self-interest, to make Grand Central a destination not just for commuters, but for shoppers and diners and sightseers. The one thing that I always find fascinating standing on one of the balconies is you look over at this urban ballet, this controlled, choreographed chaos, and I almost never see anyone bumping into anyone else. And this is a place that 750,000 people come to on an average weekday, an incredible number, and yet it functions even more efficiently than it was designed to do 100 years ago. It's a marvel of engineering, it's a marvel of transportation. I think the station will outlast us.